Hey, good Tuesday evening. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Thanks for tuning in to our live weather impact. We have got a lot to talk about tonight. Even though the weather is great, there's a lot of other things going on, weather-related, a lot of tropical stuff that's not so much associated with this year, but the last several years with Helene. We've got some Helene updates, as well as we're going to talk more about Katrina as we get close to the 20th anniversary of the landfall of that historic storm. But let's start with the great news, because if you've been outside today, it is absolutely amazing. This August has been cool. There's no doubt about it, but it's not as cool as some people think. It's only been the 55th coolest. That seems weird even saying that, but it has been the coolest since 2014. But what happened early in the month, we had that cold snap, but it was wet, cold, and cloudy. The good news about this cool snap, it's coming with sunshine and no rain. So to me, this is a much better cool snap than what we had earlier in the month. It feels like mid to late September, not late August out there. That's kind of the normal high that we typically would have that time of year. Look at the views, just high clouds out there. It does feel great across the area. As we take a live view from our Mr. Sparky camera network, you see all the sunshine mixing with those high clouds. Just some beautiful views from Dallas, Monroe, Lake Norman, and here in Charlotte. There's those high clouds. You can see them on the satellite and radar together, the high clouds scooting across the sky. No rain out of theirs today, 82 and 64. The averages are 88 and 68, so well below the averages, nowhere near records, but certainly cool. And everybody was cool. We were below average, no matter where you were, just by varying degrees. 6 degrees below average today here in Charlotte. But look at Boone and Jefferson, 10, 12, 11 degrees below average. Mount Mitchell this morning, 41 degrees.
Ooh.
Beach Mountain, 46 degrees. So tomorrow, I think there's a good chance we might see some upper 30s. So I'll be really curious to check out the Mount Mitchell temperature tomorrow morning, because these were the low temperatures this morning. 52 in Boone, 64 in Charlotte, which felt great. Tonight, I expect temperatures will be cooler just because we didn't get as hot today. Only 78 right now. It's 67 right now in Boone. It definitely is fall-like up in the mountains because they never really got out of the 60s. So that is really cool for the mountains even. Tonight, look at the 40s in the mountains. Those blues are 40s and maybe some 30s. 59 in Charlotte. Now, that's contingent on the clouds clearing. Why is that important? Well, if you have clouds, especially thin clouds, they act like a sheet. So think about having just a T-shirt on or bringing the sheet on your bed. It's just enough to keep a little warmth in. But if you get rid of them, we can radiate the little bit of heat we got today and definitely cool down. So tomorrow morning, bus stop forecast, I wouldn't call it sweater weather or really sweatshirt weather, but you might want long sleeves. Low 60s, upper 50s by the afternoon, just 80 degrees, and everybody else should be pretty close to where we were today, maybe a degree cooler in some locations. Now, surface map, this is great. It's not a short-term pattern. This dip in the jet stream, notice the flow, northwest to southeast. That is always going to be a cooler flow for us. When we typically have our hot, humid weather, the flow is coming from the south, southwest, or southeast. So that's our warm, humid, stormy weather that we tend to get. And typically, late in the summer, that's kind of what we see, because that's when the tropics heat up and the Bermuda high is kind of steering everything towards us. Right now, the great news about this pattern is not only does it keep us crisp and cool, it keeps the tropical systems away. Not that there's any out there to talk about. This is what I was talking about. This is a departure from average highs, not the average temperature, which is the difference. The average temperature is the high and low combined. These are just the highs. Look how hot it was at the end of July. And then August 1st, basically, we were 3 degrees above normal. And then the 2nd through about the 12th, we were way below. And then we had a warm spell in the middle of the month, and now we've had another cool snap. Not crazy cool, but it's been drier and definitely less humid with this cool snap than we had earlier in the month. The dry weather's sticking around. If you love dew points in the 40s and 50s, and I do, we are going to see more of that as we go through the next several days. Now, rain chances, I'm keeping them pretty minimal right now, about 20%. But this weekend, there is a hint that we could see a low-pressure system develop on the coast because of the old stalled front. I have to keep an eye on that. That might spread moisture further northwest. Right now, I'm not too pessimistic about it. I think it's going to be fine. We could talk more about that with Tim. I don't think it's going to be something we have to really worry about at this moment, but we'll definitely take a look at it. Pollen is up. This is the one thing. End of the summer, early fall, if you're a hay fever sufferer, ragweed in particular, unfortunately, it's ramping up. So if you're sniffly, sneezy, itchy eyes, it's ragweed and mold this time of year, and ragweed in particular. That's one that gets me quite a bit. So just a heads up. pollen levels are starting to go up as we get into hay fever season. Now, look at the upper level pattern. The reason I'm showing this, look at the dip in the jet stream. It's locked in through the weekend. Early next week, it's still locked in. No heat domes, no ridges of high pressure camping out over us. And so we tend to see some really cool weather that could be sticking around for a while. So this is a very nice pattern to see if you like cool temperatures. And our average high by the end of the month into early September is about 86 and 67. We'll actually be a little bit below that, so you'll see that. Now, we mentioned briefly we could have low pressure develop on the coast. I just want to touch on this because going into the weekend, there's this little wave of low pressure that develops right about here on Saturday. Depending on where this sets up, that might spread some moisture further northwest. So this is something to keep an eye on for Saturday into Sunday. Now, it's way out there. This could actually end up trending further south and not being an issue, but just something to keep in the back of your mind for Saturday night into Sunday. It doesn't last long because look how quickly that moves out. But if there's one little fly in this beautiful weather ointment, that would be it. But honestly, we could use a little bit of rain. I know everyone's like, I don't need to see rain. We had so much rain earlier in the month. Remember, that rain isn't like something we can save for a rainy day or a dry day in this case. That rain we got early in the month, it's gone, right? And if we dry out for a week or two, your plants are constantly needing moisture. If you have a garden, the rain you got early in the month isn't going to help your garden out because you're going to have to water. So we love to see consistency. The one thing about rainfall, extremes are horrible. Not enough rain and too much rain. Consistency is what you want to keep everything nice and lush. So getting an inch of rain a week is really what you need. So let's take a quick look at that 7-day forecast to kind of show you what I'm expecting over the next 7 days. It will show you through the weekend because it's Labor Day weekend. Can you believe it's already Labor Day weekend? It's hard to imagine. Nope. It's an early Labor Day, by the way, because it's always the first Monday of the month, and the first is Monday. So incredibly early for Labor Day. Look at those temperatures. Low to mid 80s, morning lows, upper 50s, low 60s.
Open the windows.
Oh, that's great. I mean, we'll keep that 20% chance, but as I mentioned, that could go up or down. Let's go 10 days into the future. I always like to look long term. You can see late in the period here, maybe some upper 80s. So potentially maybe a little bit of a warm up by the time we go into Wednesday and Thursday. So maybe we will see one more little batch of heat by the end of that period. But enjoy this great weather. We'll be talking more about this and updates on Helene and Katrina coming up next.